Look how much time they're filling here. See, they've so much time to fill, they've now had to follow Cena down to where he's out of shot. Cena doesn't even think he's on anymore. Or does he? Cena's gone into the crowd.
Cena's making his way through the WWE Universe to celebrate the fact that he's still employed by WWE.
This looks like dark match stuff. It's like they just didn't time it right. And now there's shots of Cena making his way through the crowd. Like, this is still live. This is weird. We're still looking at, like, the WWE logo came up about 5 minutes ago. And now you've just got shots of Cena going through the crowd. Look at those fans following. We've just been watching Survivor Series live on pay-per-view. And indeed, you've seen some of our reactions to those matches as they happened. It's over, and what a strange ending it was. You had the copyright logo come up, and indeed that usually is where a show would end, but then Cena went off walking into the crowd, working his fired stipulation, which apparently we believe at this point he's no longer going to be part of the WWE. We're going to see what happens tomorrow night on Raw. Personally, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he is fired. Probably fired in the kayfabe sense, no doubt. But I think tomorrow night on Raw, all those questions will be some bit tied up, or wrapped up, should I say. And we'll probably see the official firing of John Cena. For the better, yeah, I think it's time for a repackage. You know, he's had too much of the same, and I think he knows that he needs to get rid of that shirt, that purple shirt, that baseball hat, those 3/4 length shorts, and those Reebok runners, and get his act together.
The show was, for all intents and purposes, over, but they seem to get the timing so wrong with this. By the time the match had finished, you had about 18 minutes left of time. Now, I know usually they cut it about maybe 5 minutes to the hour, but really a sign of a good pay-per-view is when they are trying to get everything in, and there's literally seconds counting down to the top of that next hour when their time is up, if you like, to broadcast the pay-per-view live. So you'd wonder what exactly happened there. What was the reason for that long drawn out Cena in the crowd sequence? I would expect that it was pretty much dark match material. That's what happens when the guy is off TV and we see this type of thing.
We've seen these crowd shots before. I think it's probably more of a case of the overemphasis on the outcome and getting those fan reactions and catching the vibe of the whole scene. And now that he's fired, one last trek through the crowd for John Cena, and to say farewell to the WWE Universe once and for all until he gets repackaged. But, you know, I think for the most part there, Cena's own fault. If he hadn't have pushed Wade wouldn't have landed in that RKO, and I'm sure Cena, if he has anyone to blame, it is himself. So I think he needs to go check himself now that he is fired.
Wade Barrett and John Cena, a better showing this time on pay-per-view. Of course, last time at Bragging Rights, it just wasn't there. Orton, his usual self, but Barrett not really on the level. Now, I think they matched up a lot better this time. Maybe they just decided to let it be a little bit different than the last one. Give Barrett more time to work as a heel, and indeed to lead it a bit. It did go back and forth, but ultimately, of course, you had Nexus coming in at the end, and that's one of my big problems, is to see these repeated interference angles at the finish of main events. We had it last time with Kane v Undertaker at Bragging Rights. It wasn't needed. It did nothing to further Kane's story. It did nothing for Undertaker. I suppose it took him off TV, and if that's the end they were looking to get, then perhaps it works. The first 3 matches, if that didn't pay the bills, then none of the rest did, because those matches really did hit it out of the park early.
I think the only one that really kind of made this show kind of stink up a little bit was the Kane Edge match. I even thought the Survivor Series old school 5-on-5 match was pretty strong, considering some of the people that were in it. Nonetheless, but no, it was good. It was interesting. It was fun. Like you said, the first 3 matches, I think, really kicked the ball out there and set the pace for the whole show. And the Divas match delivered nicely, but again, the finish a little bit iffy. But I think it's probably a good thing for Cena nonetheless.
So considering those opening 3 matches and then what was to follow, perhaps weaker in terms of bouts. I mean, of course, the Divas thing was okay, but very, very quick. Everything moved really quick after those 3 matches. At the beginning, the Ted DiBiase, Daniel Bryan, the Caval versus Dolph Ziggler. And indeed, what else was on there?
We had Sheamus and John Morrison.
Yeah.
Jomo getting the pin over Sheamus. Surprising victory for Jomo, but I think it's time for him to step it up a little bit. Obviously, they've got high hopes for him now, so maybe we'll see John Morrison in a main event picture within the next 12 months. Who knows?
All of those mid-card guys shining at that opening match, and then to follow with the second and third. Like I say, the Divas did their best and very, very quick. The tag team match really wasn't much to write home about. There's nothing to say about it, really. It was just some spots with Nexus, and indeed they came in and did what they had to do, surrounding the ring at the beginning, and of course we knew what was going to happen there. Other than that, I suppose the main event, I would say a lot of people are going to be well disappointed. Now, of course, you heard Mike react to this, and he was very, very excited about this, and you could tell at the end there that I think for him it fell flat. Our final thoughts on that pay-per-view, I would give it a strong 4 out of 5. I think maybe I'd go 3 out of 5 on the basis of the last few matches, which I didn't think matched up to the start of the show.
I give this one a 3.7 out of 5. I think Kane and Edge really took the tone down a little bit, and the Divas match was very, very short. But the end of C Nation and as far as Never Give Up, I think that's the end of that one. So will we see the birth of Heel Nation? Only time will tell. And with the Royal Rumble around the corner, never rule out another Cena moment like the one we'll never forget from Madison Square Garden, New York City, the return of John Cena, Super Cena, to kick ass.
That's it for our Survivor Series coverage. Catch us live on Justin and here on YouTube every week.